right, guys, welcome back to the Brutal American Podcast. We've got another Q&A ready to go here, and we're going to dive pretty much right into it. I know we finished up that last one with some stuff on young men looking for wives and trying to find the right girl, how to go about that, online dating, should I move, should I be going to singles mixers, all that good stuff. So definitely go check out that last Q&A episode if you haven't yet. That one was a good one. But we're going to pick up where we left off. And the very first question on this one is, since Brian started his cut, how many Refuge members have started a cut? Ethan put in the notes, dozens of us. It's hard to say because there are few people that are as public about their weight loss journeys.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you have any idea? I can think of, this is what tends to happen, as far as I can tell, is someone in the group raises the bar, or someone new is added to the group, which raises the bar. And then the collective group goes, probably should do something about that. Like I should narrow this gap that has been revealed to me. And then you have this like overall kind of trickle down effect of lots of people moving in this general direction. What I'm getting at is that all of this is my fault. Not really. But I mean, Ben lost 40 some odd pounds.
Ben did it before Brian did it.
Ben did it like a year ago.
Year and a half ago, right?
He lost a whole bunch of weight. Brian's lost, I think, like over 50 pounds at this point. And just here recently came back up to like closer to maintenance level calories, which is funny. Like you can see immediately he looks and feels and like he's back to his like bouncy, like energetic self. For a while, I was like editing Bright Hearth and I'm like, this dude's got to eat something. Like you can just tell his brain is not moving at the normal speed. And like he's like messing up words more often than he normally would and stuff like that. You can tell like
You're
it
like,
was just,
this is way more work to edit. I need you to eat.
yeah, dude, you got to eat something. But you know, like your brain, everything just doesn't run as well on half of your maintenance calories for extended periods of time. And he was in a really, really big deficit for an extended period, like a long time.
It's been since Christmas.
Yeah.
Right? About.
The other thing I will say is like, there have been numerous people that just automatically assume that he's doing some sort of drug, like he's on Ozempic or he's on, you know, retatrutide or something that's like causing him to lose all this weight. He genuinely like is just obsessive about stuff. And I think everyone just way underestimates how much progress you can make in anything if you're completely obsessed with it.
And if you know Brian at all, that's his whole personality is he will latch onto something and he will do it all the way down to the bottom.
Yes.
And just that will be his entire thing.
Yes.
And then I'm actually really looking forward to the next chapter. Like what will that be?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
It'll be something.
Could be anything.
But that's just how he is. I get that way a little bit with stuff. Like I'm to the point where I'm playing golf by myself because I just really want to be that good at golf, which is like absurd. And I would have laughed at myself a few years ago, but we started playing and I'm just like that about stuff. So
I'm not that way about golf or like any of those things that you could do together or you could do by yourself. Skiing, hunting, fishing, like people do it for the love of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would never, ever be like do it on my own. And maybe I'm just at a stage of life where like I just count the cost benefit analysis of like spending that time without anybody, without my family, without my friends, and just can't make a pencil.
I should caveat that like
your
my family's out of town.
It was not a veiled shot. And maybe I'll get to the point where like I'm older and there's more time and my kids are out of the house and like maybe I'll do it for the love of the game. But right now it's like I would never play golf again if I didn't have any friends.
Yeah. I don't know. I probably still would. But the only thing that I've been like that consistently with for years is the fitness stuff. Like
that, I think that's something where maybe I think that's something where like, it'd be cool to have somebody to work out with all the time. Not everybody has that situation.
Right.
But that one's one where I think the cost benefit analysis is like, yeah, I'm taking this time away from anybody else, but it's worth it. I think the return on investment is far higher than, not 3-putting.
To answer the question, a lot of people have, but it's still not enough. Like there are still our entire culture and society by and large is very, very overweight and weak and out of shape, and are also suffering all of the mental and spiritual side effects of that. And like, we still have to fix it. I'm glad that like a guy with him, like him, that has as big of a following as he does and impacts as many people as he does, has done this and taken it really seriously to the point where at first people were calling him fat. And now they're like, dude, you got to stop.
You look like a Holocaust survivor.
But like if we're moving the Overton window, especially for our people in the right direction, then good. All right.
Sometimes I forget whether we're doing the main episode or the after hours
or the Patreon.
And there's things that are like, oh, I'd say that on the Patreon, but I shouldn't say that.
All right, here we go. Next one is a little bit more granular. If you had to pick one rifle setup and one sidearm setup, what would it be? Let's say the context is urban or suburban. Yeah, this is a great question. I would pick my current short-barreled AR setup. It's my favorite gun. I actually don't have, maybe this is a personality thing. I don't have some other gun that I've seen or shot or something that I'm like, I wish I could replace mine with that.
Yeah.
I'm picking mine. I love mine.
Yeah. You've got 10.5-inch Daniel Defense upper, PSA lower, right? It's a pistol, so you're not fooling with the SBR thing.
Yep.
Got, the Scythe can on it.
Yep.
Right. So,
from Silencer Co.
30 cal can on it. You got a light. You got what do you have optic wise? Romeo.
It's the Romeo
4XT. Okay.
I think it's 4XT.
Sling. Right.
Yep.
I think that's the answer for most people, to be honest with you. I think it's somewhere between a 10.5 and 12.5-inch upper. I think the can is a good option. And especially once you start shooting with guys who all have silencers and then you're the only one who doesn't, it's almost like unhospitable.
You're like, you can't be friends with us anymore.
But I think there's a lot of practical application for them. Hearing protection, flash hiding, sound suppression, all the things. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I think we found shooting those for several years that you can reach out as far as you need to in that kind of context with those rifles. I don't think you're shooting well beyond that, or need to. I would mostly, you've seen these charts with like S tier, A tier, down to the, poverty pony. And like, I'm not one that scoffs at, like, if somebody's like, this is my budget and I can buy the PSA AR, like, do it, like 100% do it and spend the money on the ammo and go shoot it. I'm not a snob. I'm not saying that they're all equal. Like I think you do get what you pay for in a lot of this stuff. But I think it's better. I think it's far better than not doing it for sure. But, something like that, I like piston guns, but I would go, a DI upper. I think red dot with or without a magnifier is the way to go. Put a light on it. Scout Turbo is the way to go. Mini Scout Turbo, for your money, I think is the way to go with that. And then also sling, plenty of mags, chest rig. That's not really the question, but it was rifle and pistol, right?
Yeah. I have the Mini Scout Turbo for a light. I really like my optic. It's shake awake. The battery life is like forever. And then I also have the Warrior Poet elastic sling. I think that's a game changer. It's really not a huge budget item or anything, but not constantly adjusting the sling to be longer or shorter and being able to wear it in different configurations. Like I can run the sling at the same tension with a plate carrier on or just with a t-shirt or whatever, and it works all the time. Really, really like it. That gun in particular, I think that kind of setup, I don't know if this will make sense to everyone, but it's like the closest thing that I can think of from like a feel and like performance standpoint to like what someone probably felt like when they used to carry around just like a really good broadsword. And it's like extremely simple. There's nothing complicated about it, but it's really accurate. It's very, like I said, it's very simple. There's not a bunch of complexity to it. It's just very straightforward, and it's extremely effective. Like I don't have to second guess whether something is going to operate the right way, or if I'm going to know how to manipulate it, or like everything is the exact same the whole time. The controls are easy, and it just works. So
we're actually about to record an episode with Evan that just built a pretty similar rifle, and we'll go through all the components and the trigger and why we told him to select the different things we did. So maybe we won't spoil all of it right now, but yeah, I mean, he asked for the setup, trigger and everything. Sidearm, what would you go with?
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Luke.
And this is Defiant Machine Works.
Here at Defiant, we specialize in precision firearm customizations that deliver performance and aesthetic. Hand stippling for superior grip and control in any condition, CNC slide milling and optic cuts, porting to reduce recoil, and flawless Cerakote finishes in any color or pattern you want. The best part? Industry-leading turnaround, your custom build finished in 2 weeks or less. No endless waits, just high-performance firearms that stand out. From Glock to SIG, Smith & Wesson to CZ, we handle it all with over 10 years of collective machining experience. So take your build to the next level, head over to DefiantMachineWorks.com and use code WARCHEST at checkout for 10% off. That's WARCHEST at checkout for 10% off.
So I have a Canic TP9 Elite Combat right now that I've had for years. I don't think I've ever had a single malfunction with it. If there's anything that goes wrong when I'm shooting it, it's my fault. The trigger's great. The ergonomics are great. Everything about it has worked really, really well. It's cool looking. And it wasn't outrageously expensive. I bought it on a deal years ago. But I would pick it currently. Obviously there's way cooler, nicer, more expensive stuff out there that you could go get. I've got a Holosun optic on it, which is another more budget optic, but works great. I've never had any issues with it. So
yeah. I think depends on, are you asking the question, is it me or is it what the everyman
let's hear what yours is.
Well, mine would be what I have, like you said, it's like what you have. So
yeah.
I think I would do the 229 with the RMR HD with the TLR 7. Actually, I would do, if I could do it again, I would do the HLX because it's a far better light, but you have to buy a new holster for it, and T-Rex hasn't made that one yet. So I would get there 226, 229, something like that. The new one that came out, the one that Ben has, the 226 Legion carry, X carry, those are sick too. It's just one of those things where I don't have one because the marginal benefit would not, be there for me at this point. But if I was going to do it today, I would just go straight there.
Yeah. Yeah. Really sweet gun. You had a quote on there. Do you want to?
Well, I was just kind of thinking about this topic, and, the guy that has a dozen different ARs, but only shoots one of them, or what, like you can't pop, and some of it you have to figure it out, and you have to you're learning as you're buying and whatever. But the adage of beware of the man that only owns one gun, because he's going to know how to use it. And I think that's kind of where the question is going, is okay, I have one rifle and I have one pistol, and I'm very proficient with both of them. I think that's the goal with something like that. Yeah.
I think I'm not the very proficient with it part of it, but the personality trait where, and we have buddies like this, there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm not constantly shopping for stuff. By the time I am ready to pick out, and I'm going through all the YouTube university research on all the different stuff and looking at reviews and pricing and all of that, I've already set aside money and I'm like ready to go buy the thing right now. I am typically not doing lots of research or just watching reviews or whatever on stuff that I'm not interested in buying.
It's like window shopping.
No, I just don't. Whatever that is, the personality trait that is, I just don't have it. And we go to the range fairly often. I never ever leave thinking, man, I need a new gun. Every single time we leave, if I'm unhappy with something, it's me and like how well I'm manipulating stuff, my level of focus while we're there, my ability to reload stuff. Like it's all of the skill aspect of it. It's all user error, not equipment stuff.
No, I think you're right. I think we said something in the last one, or maybe it was Patreon, where we talked about like maximize how good you are with a thing before you buy the next level or whatever. But there's something about it too with like a rifle where you want something where like you are the limfac. You don't want to be better. You don't want to be better than the gun, which would be hard to do anyway.
Is that limiting factor?
Limiting factor. Yeah.
There's going to be someone who is going, what the heck did he just say?
But you know what I mean? Like you don't want to walk away being like, man, my score on that one was bad because I had a malfunction. My score on that was bad because I had a, light primer strike and my ammo was bad and my gun wasn't, usually it's not the gun, but I would say as long as it's in the category of like enough where it's like me and not the equipment, like that's where you want to be.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Next question. As a young guy who is living on his own and wants to take care of his body, what kind of healthy red meat based meals would you guys recommend? And what is some general nutrition advice that we would suggest? This is a good question. I think there are definitely there are dudes who all right, I'm looking for a wife, but I don't have one yet. And at some point I'll get to work through this stuff with her. But right now I'm trying to find one of those, which means I need to be more presentable and in better shape. And obviously my nutrition comes into that. So it's a good question. I think that typically people go in the direction of way overcomplicating this and doing an extensive amount of research. And just to be clear, almost anything that you decide that you want to do, like red meat based meals, you can go find someone who will tell you that that's going to give you cancer in the next 16 months. Like literally everything is this will save you from all of the things that might cause you to age, or it's going to kill you tomorrow. Yeah. You can find someone that will say one of those two things.
Yeah, 100%. And
so my point there is keep things simple.
Yeah, it has to be. It's like any of the other habit patterns. They have to be simple. They have to be repeatable. They have to be something where it's not overly complex, where you don't actually have the time to execute a really complex plan every week. It has to be built into all that. I didn't really know the answer to this question, so I sent this one to Page GPT to just kind of how would you do this?
Send it to your personal chef.
Yes. And so the first answer is and obviously he's trying to do this is get married, and we have these conversations about what are the goals, what are we trying to do. It's not just kind of haphazard or what sounds good or what was in the frozen aisle. It's we're thinking through based on whatever goals we have and where we're trying to get to, how are we going to eat and what kind of meals we're going to have. And so I think having the person there who can help execute that game plan is tremendously helpful. And so that's a cop-out answer, but get married.
Yeah.
And she'll help.
Makes all the difference in the world. From there, I would say on the note of keeping things simple, like you said, eat real food as much as possible. So stay out of the frozen section aisle as much as you can.
I feel like this would be a bit better Brightheart. I bet Brightheart has covered this one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You shop. I haven't literally been in a grocery store or shopped for probably a decade. If I've been in a grocery store, it's been go to the beer aisle and then go back out because my family's waiting in the car.
What an absolute flex.
But the idea that you shop around the exterior where it's not down the
stuff that will degrade and rot if you just leave it out in the sun. If you're buying food that you can leave in your truck for the next week and it doesn't go bad, that's not food.
Yeah.
That's the principle.
Yep.
So eat real stuff, shop the exterior of the grocery store. I think keeping things as simple as humanly possible. And I'm bringing that up again because I'm going to tell you what I've been eating for a while. And it's like, I buy
the last week or
longer than that.
no, I mean, when you've been cooking for yourself.
Well, yeah, well, I've been cooking for myself for a good bit here recently. My wife
that's true.
Has been out of order for a while. She's working on growing a baby though. So, I eat jasmine rice, which is just like unflavored white rice, but I really like the texture of it. And they come in little packets that I can throw on, like in a skillet with butter and cook super fast. We have chickens. I eat a ton of eggs. And then from there, just here recently, I've been doing more chicken than beef because it just agrees with me better. My stomach feels better and stuff doing more chicken. So it's been a lot of grilled chicken. It's been a lot of, eggs and rice. And then it's also been a lot of Greek yogurt and granola. And like that covers 85+% of what I eat all the time.
Yeah.
Like if I want a snack, I'm probably grabbing yogurt and granola. If I'm going to make a full meal, good chance there's going to be some eggs involved and some rice. And like, you just find the things that work and that you feel good on, that you feel like workouts feel good, but I don't feel like I'm overeating. I'm not gaining weight. Obviously, if you're trying to lose or gain, you need to be in a surplus or a deficit. But I think just finding really simple stuff that works for you. I also realized that I didn't say a single vegetable in there.
I was going to ask.
I'm not changing the answer. That's just how it is. Like legit, my family is in Texas seeing other families. So my kids are there right now. My mother-in-law ordered a salad at some place that they went to. And my son was just utterly perplexed. And he was like, why you bought a leaf?
Yeah. Why you eating rabbit?
He's like, why is she eating that? Like, why did you buy a leaf? Because like, we just don't, he likes meat. Like he likes summer sausage. He likes, like if we make a whole meal and there's like 3 different things, he will pick out all of the ground beef in the thing and like,
not eat
he's not going to eat like, even if it's like bread or dessert or something, like he just doesn't care.
I like vegetables like Brussels sprouts and asparagus and broccoli. Like I know there's all kinds of different opinions on whether they're beneficial or you get the vitamins out of them or whether they're, broccoli is like, a vile weed,
a carcinogen.
Yeah. Like I don't know, but like I like the way they taste. I like the way the page prepares them.
Yeah.
Salad, take or leave it. But
it's the kind of thing where like I can eat that, but I feel like I'm just wasting time when I eat one.
Yeah. What else? So you kind of talked about this, but balancing the protein that makes you feel full, so you're not constantly trying to snack. The carbs energize.
You cannot eat too much protein. Like it doesn't matter if you're trying to gain weight or lose weight, or it doesn't matter. It's
actually hard to target. Like if you're like following a like macro plan, like it's actually hard to eat enough to, based on your body weight, based on what your goals are, to actually hit that target each day. It's really a lot of eggs, a lot of egg whites.
It's a ton of protein. If you're trying to eat a gram of protein per pound of body weight, that is a lot of protein to eat in a day. And one of the things that you can do is you can just front load it and go, until I've hit my protein macro goal, I'm just not going to eat anything else. And like, I bet you stay in a pretty good little calorie deficit. If you do that. So, for sure. You got to eat enough protein. Carbs. As far as carbs go, I would just try to keep things to as little sugar as possible. So that means eating more complex carbs, eating things like potatoes and rice and sweet potatoes. That kind of carbohydrate that it takes your body a little bit longer to break down and burn is much better than anything that's going to be like a processed sugar kind of thing. At the same time, like good luck eating too much fruit. Like most people are not going to have that problem.
Yeah.
So
do you do a lot of protein shakes? I mean, the question was about red meat, and I don't know that we've covered red meat at all, but I don't know. I think my wife does a pretty good job of like mixing, like she tries to keep things fresh and like new stuff and not having the same thing every day. So which I enjoy the variety. Like I get tired of meals, like if you have multiple, throughout the week. But
I don't have that thing. I'll just eat the same thing every single day.
No matter what.
Yeah, and it doesn't bother me.
But even on stuff like you could have the same basic ingredients. Like she does this more with chicken than beef, but she do it with beef too. But like basically it's the same ingredients, but like it's like this one's a Greek variety and this one's a Mexican variety and this one's a, and so like it's fundamentally just different seasoning,
Yeah.
But it does feel like a little bit more variety, but the ingredients are really the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, as far as red meat goes, obviously, like if you can afford it and the budget is there, then like ribeyes are fantastic. And if you can learn how to cook a ribeye on charcoal, like that, in my opinion, is like the peak of consuming protein.
Yeah. I think the trick with stuff like that is like, find your butcher, get it cut a lot thicker than they want to cut it for you. And like the meat ends up being the same thing because you have a small, a smaller ribeye, or you cut them in half. But like the way that you can cook a 2-inch ribeye as opposed to a 1/2-inch ribeye is just so much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, but besides steaks, there are other cuts of meat. Like we buy whole cows at a time, and like you get a lot ground up, and you can do a lot with ground beef. But I think that finding ways to cook those less popular cuts of meat, like
roasts
and eye of round, and I don't know what all the different cuts are. Like
the trick to that tends to be budgeting for cooking something for a longer period of time.
Yep.
And like if you can get something like that into a halfway decent recipe in a crock pot, it's going to be great, and it'll make a whole bunch of food that you can, keep and eat leftovers for the next few days. You can also prepare food for much larger parties of people that way. But it just requires more time. And this tends to be the thing that guys, especially young guys, lack, is like preparation. Mm-hmm. And so like you're going to spend 2 hours cooking something, or like you're going to spend 30 minutes getting something in a crock pot in the morning so that you can take it out that evening and have meals for the next couple days. But if you like learn how to do that, you can learn all of this on YouTube, or I don't know, call your grandmother. Like they'll teach you how to do it. It's really not that complicated. And then you can, like you were saying, cook more than just steaks and ground beef.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that's helpful. I mean, if your stomach agrees with red meat and doesn't bother you, then
Paige gave us a list of meal ideas.
Oh, here we go.
Because that was kind of like the question. New York strip with roasted asparagus. I'd probably add in like baked potato, roasted potatoes, sweet potatoes, something like that. Chuck roast with carrots and potatoes, very easy to reheat and make it a batch. So that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Shepherd's pie. I don't know. That one sounds like labor intensive, but
it sounds like you might need to like actually know how to cook.
Yeah, and have an oven and pans and pots, and I don't know. But shepherd's pie, beef chili, easy batch and freeze, meatballs. I love meatballs. I love meatballs because I've never made them. So they actually also sound labor intensive, but you can do different stuff, right? You can have Italian meatballs, you can have Swedish meatballs, you can have barbecue meatballs like tailgate. Like I like the variety of stuff you can do there. Burger bowls, which I assume is like a Chipotle bowl, but burger.
Yeah. You really don't have to make things super complicated. Like ground beef, bacon, and cheese in a bowl. It's great.
Add a little bit of lettuce, tomato, onion, whatever,
if you feel like it.
Cast iron. So we're out of red meat again. Cast iron batch chicken breasts, chop them up. This is what I was talking about. Season into meal portions. Probably 8 ounces would be a good target. Season ideas: Greek, lemon garlic, barbecue rub, yellow curry, Cajun, teriyaki. She'll do this a lot, and I actually, it ends up being the same meal every day, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
So that one's really good. Beef stroganoff.
That's one of my favorites.
Really?
That Paige does. That one is really good.
Breakfast burritos, I think, are great. Easy. Yeah, and like you can batch those and freeze them and throw them in the oven while you shower. I think is great. We do a decent amount of egg shakes in the morning. She's been doing like egg whites, bananas, splash of orange juice, vanilla, like stuff like that. I think I like that. It's like a ton of protein. I feel full for a very long time. Like some days it would be 1-2 o'clock before I'm actually hungry for lunch.
Yeah.
So I think that it's really easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of time. So again, not red meat.
So I've been doing this for myself here recently, and so it's not nearly as fancy, but like I'll fill a bowl with 6 or 7 fried eggs and put salt and pepper on it in the morning and just eat that. And there's literally nothing else. It's just like a caffeine drink of choice and 6 eggs.
Early in the morning, I can drink a lot more eggs than I can eat.
Huh.
Like I could eat 2 or 3 eggs, and some breakfast meat, sausage, bacon, but like I don't know how many eggs she puts in the shakes, but it's a lot.
Nice.
And it seems like it goes a long way.
There you go. There's you some ideas. Don't overcomplicate it. All right. This next one is wife here. So, hey, thanks for listening to the show. I would appreciate if you guys addressed concealed carry for women. I think you mentioned it a while back, maybe digging into carry options for women in the future.
I still think that's a great question. I still think it's a full episode. I still need to get some of the different options and have our wives try them out and give some feedback. The research takes a little bit more time on that one that we haven't had time for, but we absolutely will do that.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I think you first think about limiting factors. You think about what is the goal for female attire, right? You're thinking about we want our wives wearing dresses, and so that really limits how you can get in the waistbands out.
Yeah.
You think about all the kids climbing on them and the duties they have every day and what's possible with that, and then basically you're making this decision tree of am I on the body or off the body? And I would basically, if it's not in a holster on a belt of some sort, I would probably consider that off body,
the gray area might be if you have some sort of specialty fanny pack that is designed to carry a gun holster and is quick, easy access.
Without doing any research and without ever trying these, I'll say, unreservedly that one of those Everly stock type fanny packs, a lot of the thing is millennials and Zoomers are wearing these anyway to carry their wallet and phone in.
Yeah.
So they're becoming more popular. So I don't think an immediate, that person has a gun.
No, that you can definitely find some too. What is that dude's name? I'm not going to be able to think of it right off the top of my head, but there are companies that are making them that are intentionally not military or tactical looking. They just look discreet, black or gray or whatever color.
Yeah, or you find a Lululemon one that's been converted to carry a Kydex holster. But I think that's the point is it's on your body, or I would consider it off body, but it's on your person. It's not in a bag that you just set down, because those are the other things you're thinking about is how quickly can I access it? What are the odds that somebody gets into this that should be a kid? How safe and secure is it? Those are all of the questions you're asking. But if you have a Kydex holster with these zippers that are made to be pulled down and relatively quick access, I think I've looked at Everly stock has them. If it were me, I would find something that doesn't look tactical,
right?
Because that's part of it. The gray man kind of thing is not having something that's clearly oh, you have
what you got in there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's one of the things that you want to prioritize. But also I don't think a ton of people expect women to be carrying. So I think you could wear a Cry Precision, fanny pack, and nobody would oh, she has a gun.
Yeah.
So I think that would be my first choice. After that, it kind of without having tested these, I don't exactly know, but they're a neoprene belly band.
Yeah.
And the reason I like that is my sister-in-law has tried some of these, but basically I think Crossbreed has some of these, but it's a neoprene belly band that could be worn, depending on what you have on, rib cage and down. But they have a Kydex holster built in. And so kind of regardless of your dress, flowy kind of dress, it's going to conceal pretty well. Accessibility, not great, but if you have to use it, you're going to use it.
Yeah.
I think that's an option. There's another thing called the Filster Enigma. Have you seen this?
Mm-mm.
It's kind of a unique thing. It's kind of like a belt you wear against your skin. I think it's got kind of a leg attachment, but it's kind of meant for a similar kind of idea. So I think that's one that you would actually have to try out to decide, is it comfortable? Because that's any of this stuff. It's like, is it comfortable? Am I actually going to want to carry it, or is it not that uncomfortable?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think you mentioned this may have been the last episode, but the habits have to be repeatable.
Yep.
And if you're going to go spend a whole bunch of money on something and like, hey, I have this really specialty purse that allows me to carry a gun, but also I can't stand this thing and it's ugly and I don't want to carry it. Well, then like, don't be fighting against yourself in this. Like, figure out a way to do it where it's actually repeatable and you're comfortable doing it.
I think you have to think about like, okay, what is the scenario that the wife is in where this would actually be used, right? With guys, there's a lot of like, I don't know that there's, and maybe we should think more about this, but like where you're like, I'm walking away and I'm fleeing this situation. Like, but with women, if it's possible, you might actually be talking your wives and training them into like, no, just like get out of the situation. Like, you're not the one who's meant to be doing this. Just like, if you can get out of there, get out of there.
Evade if at all possible.
Yeah. And so I think thinking through some of that, like decision making, is really important. Obviously, going to the range and training with whatever you have, whether it's in a bag, on your person, in a fanny pack, in a belly band. Like, I think you actually, and plenty of women wear pants and can do in the waistband thing, and like that can be a great option. But I think you have to have multiple, because with us, it's like I wear a belt every day. The only time I'm not wearing a belt is gym shorts, and whatever I'm doing in gym shorts, I'm probably not carrying a gun. But with women, it's so, the spectrum is so much wider where you actually have to think through, okay, in these outfits, I can do this. And in these outfits, I do this. And so I think that's really important, but thinking through what is the most dangerous thing that could happen? And like, is this going to be a useful tool to try to, help in that situation?
Yeah.
Training. And then, when you go to like what you don't want to do, I think there's benefit in going to the range and doing the flat range stuff where they're drawing out of holsters and reloading and all that. But like, you have to spend if they're going to carry off body or in a fanny pack, like when you go to the range, that's probably what you're doing. You're probably, she's probably not there every week or every month. And so when you get her to the range, make her draw out of whatever the thing is that she primarily carries on. Yeah.
Because that is one of those things that you think that your normal dexterity and fine motor skills are going to stick no matter what. But when stress goes to the roof and that chemical cocktail hits, getting something, really specific out of a backpack might take you a lot longer than you previously intended, or getting something even out of like a fanny pack is going to take longer, like opening zippers, undoing buckles, that kind of stuff. It becomes much more stressful when you're in a really intense situation. So practicing that stuff is actually really important. Don't just assume that because you have decent marksmanship that you're going to be able to get something out of a bag if it's off your body in a high stress situation.
Hopefully that's helpful. Was this her follow-up as well?
I think so, yes.
She said, personally, I do carry, and when I have questions, I go to my husband. Keep doing that, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, knowing that I'm the only one who has a weapon when I meet other moms is a bit heavy. We have a weekly park meetup. Her kids, 10 other moms, 20 kids, and basically like, this is not the ideal situation where she is the only one who could do anything in a bad situation.
Yeah.
And I do think it's something where it's like, it's super unfortunate that we even have to live in a society where we have to have our wives carry guns like that. That sucks, but that's the world we live in. And it's always the adage of like, you'd rather have it not needed than needed not have it. And so because of that, until like Christendom 2.0 arrives, like we're going to have to do things that we'd rather not be doing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the nature of it. But I would honestly love to hear if she does carry what works for her.
Yeah.
So if you want to comment after this episode and let us know, we'll address it in a future episode, or maybe when we do the wives concealed carry one.
Yeah, for sure. I think also there have been instances where my wife has been in similar situations than that. And typically it is something like what she mentions here. It's like defenseless against an off-leash pit bull, or some, a homeless person walks up and it's a guy and you can tell he's on drugs or something, something like that. I think remembering that it's always better to be proactive than reactive is great. Like the fact that you're considering these things in the first place is awesome. But I think always having that defensive posture, and I think this would probably be a much larger discussion, but I don't know that, that you have the exact same level of responsibility for everyone around you that you would if you were your husband. Like a man in that scenario with a firearm, I think probably does have a step up in like responsibility for those around him and defending the lives of those innocent people. Whereas I think your responsibility is, the scope of it is just a bit narrower, and it's specifically you and your kids. And obviously you don't want to just like hang someone out to dry that's in your community or something like that, but that's not what I'm saying. But I think remembering that hierarchy in your head, and just rehearsing that is really important.
Yeah. And a lot of this comes into like the mentality and the situational awareness and training. But like, if there's a pit bull and you're uncomfortable, like maybe it's time to leave. If that opportunity to make that decision didn't happen and now there's a pit bull that you have to shoot, that's different. And you're glad that you're prepared and you spend time at the range and that you can go kill that dog that needs killing. But like, thinking through those, just the thought of, when do I need to actually change the situation and leave before this gets worse? I think that's something we just need to be able to think through.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just thinking about this, like if it was my wife in the scenario and she got involved, not that I think that she would do this, but if she got involved in some sort of tumultuous situation because there were other people there that we care about, rather than just like taking our kids and getting out of there, we would have a conversation about like where our priorities are in the situation. And like, okay, is their last name Taylor? No. Then like you say what you feel like you need to say, and then you leave and you go, I'm doing this, I'm getting my kids and I'm getting out of here. And, if people heed the warning, great. But if they don't, it's not your job to kind of like insert yourself into everyone else's problem and try to solve it for them. We see this constantly in society where like, I don't know if you saw the thing the other day where it's always like some dude is doing something ridiculous in public, and then a bunch of the fathers there beat the brakes off of him. And there's some white woman who's like checking on the guy to make sure that he's okay. And you're like, get out of there. Or like two dudes are going to fight on a public beach and both of their girlfriends are trying to stand in between them when they're trying to fist fight each other. And like, why are you in this situation at all? Yeah. Get away. And so like, I think it's just important to remember like where the priorities lie and be proactive in thinking through that.
And
stuff.
like, regardless of how you would respond to a situation, like a carjacking or a mugging or whatever, like if they're not taking the kids, if they just want the money, like give them the money. Like give them the money, like give them the car. If you can get the kids out of the car, but, and even if the husband might respond differently or have a duty to, like, I think that thinking through those things of like, you're not the primary means to bring this person to justice. Your primary thing is like keeping the family safe. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that might involve shooting a bad guy, but
sure.
But I'd say a lot of the times you have to think through, what if it doesn't?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that stuff's all worth considering. It's a good question. And obviously, like Ethan said, wish this was something that we didn't have to address at all. So, unfortunately, it is a consideration. All right, next one. I really appreciate all the content. Thanks for all you guys do. I work at the county jail on third shift, so that's bottom of the barrel seniority. Any tips for leading a household when I work 50 to 60 hours a week and sleep a lot of the time I'm at home during the day? Yeah, I can relate to this one a little bit.
You've done like
similar. It wasn't like a perennial, I was always on night shifts kind of a thing, which sounds like that might be the case for this guy. He's like always on third shift. I was on a rotating shift, so we would work 7 days on, 7 days off. Then I would go back on nights, and it was always 6 to 6. Sometimes I was working nights, sometimes I was working days, and those nights are miserable. I definitely can relate to that. I think that being really, really intentional with the time that you're not there is important. I don't know how this is. It might be, at a county jail, it might be pretty active. At the job where I was, a lot of the time that I was at work, I was just on the clock, but I wasn't really doing much. I was just kind of hanging out in case something happened. And so I think also being intentional with that time is important. If you have downtime at work, don't waste it. If there's stuff that you can be taking care of that will take care of the stuff that needs to be done at the home while you're at work, obviously you don't want to let this make you a bad employee, but
yeah, a lot of the admin, if you're just sitting there watching the camera, like a lot of the admin, you can actually do multitask.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I that's how I took it, was like, this is 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. or 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. something like that, where it actually is super, super challenging. Like, your schedule is off of everybody else in the world. Shops aren't open when you're awake, or when you're sleeping during the day. You're thinking through stuff like blackout curtains and making sure it's like quiet, and your wife's trying to like probably keep the kids quiet so you can sleep. And like, I think that actually is really important, because you want to get your 7-8 hours or whatever, but you want it to be effective sleep so that you can get up and use whatever time you have. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if he's working 50, 60 hours a week, like that actually is a pretty limited time at home, especially while everybody else is conscious.
Especially with this schedule. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that making sure that sleep is effective for you, so you can get up and have some quality time before you have to go in, and making sure you knock out, like, if you think about it, like, I'm not trying to minimize it, but like, most of us probably share one meal a day with our families. Like, we're probably not all eating breakfast and lunch with them. We try to prioritize family dinner. So like, we have one meal a day together as a family. We do family worship. Like, you can do the same thing, but maybe everybody has breakfast for dinner because you just got up, or whatever. But I think you can prioritize that. And maybe it's, you get to play with your kids before you go to work instead of when you come home. And I think being really, I just think it takes a lot of administration and planning to be just really effective with the time that you do have. Even in the planning of the off days, whether you're off Saturdays, Sundays, like, not letting those just kind of be whatever they are, but trying to say, hey, I'm off this Saturday. Let's go do this thing together as a family, and making really good use of that time. Yeah,
it can be really tempting to kind of wallow in the fact that you're exhausted from a schedule and a work, like a work demand like this. But I think it's really important to let your leadership and your presence and the fact that you are steering the ship of your household, let that be something that's really, really felt the times that you are home. If you tend to go into this really apathetic, I'm just exhausted and I want to flop down and lay on the couch and everyone to leave me alone, it's going to be difficult to do this well if you're allowing yourself to do that. So just like with everything else, if you want your household to be run in a disciplined way, if you want to have disciplined children, if you want things to operate in a certain way, you have to take the lead on that and make sure that those things are true about you first. And it's a challenging thing to do. I'm not trying to minimize that, but in this scenario, I think it's even more important because of the circumstances.
I think the other encouragement would be like, if you're at the bottom of the barrel, there's a ladder to climb up, and like, this is a season. Mm-hmm. And so the habits that you set now, they'll be adjusted when you're on swings or you're on days, or, but those habits still carry through. So like, the kind of things, if you can do it on nights, then it's how much easier to do on days. For sure. With those same habits, just adjusted for time. So I think that's super important.
Yeah. I think thinking of it as a season is really, really important for sure. There was like, when I was doing this, it was only 1 week out of the month that I had to deal with it, but it was 7 days in a row. And I knew, obviously this is a single week, so it's a very different thing, but I knew that a bunch of the stuff that I really cared about was going to be really lackluster during that week. Like, my workouts are not going to feel good if I'm going into work at 5:30 a.m. and getting in the bed at 7 a.m. or 5:30 p.m. and getting off in the bed at 7 a.m. Like my workout at 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon after I wake up and it's already midday, like it's not going to be good. But that doesn't mean you just like throw everything out the window. You just go into it knowing like the performance here is probably not going to be great. But that's all right. The importance is like the important thing to do is to continue to show up. And I think that it's not like you want to lower the standards, but like if you're doing family worship at breakfast after you work your shift at the jail and like everyone's just woken up and you've just gotten off work, the expectation that everyone's just going to be on and dialed and everything's going to be perfect and the kids are going to be super gung ho, like you probably just need to go into it knowing, you know, there's going to be some difficulty dealing with it and working through it, but it's still worth it to do the thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think as well, like leaning on your wife for delegation of the responsibilities. Like I don't know how much we've talked about the marriage meeting idea, but just like whatever the regular basis is on how you guys are getting on the same page and you guys are aligning your calendars and making sure there's good communication and feedback and all of that. But it's just so much more important in those difficult seasons to rely on her as the helper to take care of things that maybe you would normally take care of, or maybe you need to pay somebody to take care of, but like communicating those goals, expectations, just leading even when you can't physically be around as much as you would like.
Yeah. Communication for sure is extremely important in that scenario, and making sure that there's an open line of dialogue back and forth between you and her when you're working a weird schedule like that. We touched on this one a little bit in that previous episode, but we'll reiterate some of it. It's a slightly different question. So as someone who conceal carries, what is the mindset with open carry? What are some helpful thoughts or tips for someone thinking about open carrying every now and then? Appreciate y'all. So I think this is an interesting question because it really depends on context. And we talked about that a little bit. Like we open carry here, but we work in the church and we already know everyone, and everyone else also is open carrying. So it's just part of the culture. It's just normal for us to do that. We also have, I think, probably a little bit of more of like a target on our back to some degree. Like we are at an elevated state of expecting danger just because we're here and we have this public facing thing that's going on.
People get death threats and get their addresses posted online and like Antifa's protests outside. Like, there's like real credible threats.
And it's not like I'm pulling into the parking lot every day expecting something bad to happen.
But it wouldn't surprise you.
But also, like if someone walks up in the parking lot who looks sketchy, the wheels in my head start turning pretty quickly, and none of it is shocking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what is this going to be? Like, are they going to film some sort of thing? Like, and start trying to ask me a bunch of journalism questions right here on the street and like do some sort of gotcha thing. Like I've thought through some of that stuff when people are walking up. So I think part of it is that's just part of the culture here. It's some of the expectations and the context, and that stuff matters.
I took this question to be that this guy came to the conference and saw all the refuge people open carrying and was like, why are you doing that when you can just conceal it?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right or not, because we do have a lot of people here who do this kind of semi-concealment thing. One of the reasons that everybody carries appendix, except us, is because we have one guy who teaches the concealed carry permit class, and he carries appendix. And so like naturally everybody else is like, oh, that's how you carry. But because of the environment, because people are comfortable with it, sometimes it's like an appendix carry with a suit coat, but like it's not really concealed. So kind of in between, but that's how I took the question. I think one of the things that's comfort, like there's all the comforts, but like your comfort in what you can do every day and not dread putting this thing on. I think it's more comfortable to not conceal or like not be that concealed.
I agree.
Than it is appendix, but that's just me. I know other guys that are like would die on that hill, and like, you know, it's faster and it's better, and it's like I don't really care. I just think it's more comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that.
It's very context dependent for me. Like I will borrow a gun from my brother-in-law when I'm back in Texas with family on a vacation or something. And I don't carry the same way that I do when I'm here. But even here, I think we mentioned this earlier, like when I'm walking around in the grocery store here, I usually am putting my shirt over the gun. Not really because I care that someone might see it. It's more of a defense mechanism where I don't want somebody able to like run up behind me and pull my gun out of the holster in public because I don't have a level 2 like locking holster. I'm just carrying a hip holster.
One, they can't do it if they can't see it. Two, there's another, even if it's just pull your shirt up, like there is at least another.
There's something in the way.
Wait, what's going on? You
right.
know? So yeah, I don't know if I think we've probably covered most of that in the last one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the other one. Guys here, there's a thing some guys do called full-size Fridays. And so on Fridays, they carry their full-size gun. And like they're a lot harder to conceal. So if you're into that kind of like morale, you know, get to show, or like one guy on the security team will carry a Desert Eagle every once in a while, which is probably not the best concealed carry gun.
No.
But you know, he'll carry that every once in a while. So, you know, depending on the gun and what you're going for.
Yeah. If you're open carrying, you can carry bigger guns. All right. What are some businesses or industries you think our guys need to start or get into? I think this is like guys who are looking at what are the opportunities out there for me to start some sort of Christian business. What are the different fields? Like where are the needs rather than just going, oh, my passion project is washing windows. Like what is it that communities actually need? Where do we see those needs? What do we see here in particular? I think
I thought through this a little bit. One of the things that's kind of like that question with Isaac of community defense is how do you have all the components for what you need in a spot? So how do you have the food and the water and the shelter and the defense and all that? But like one of those things is manufacturing. Like there are a lot of things that we export manufacturing to China. Like where do we, make lapel pins? Where they make stuff in China, like obviously,
where they make.
But I think manufacturing and being able to own the different components of that supply chain for a certain thing. I talked to a guy this week who's in North Carolina, and he's into manufacturing and he's into Christian businesses and wanted to know like what those things are. But I think one of the reasons is we want to invest in Christian businesses. We want to be able to give our children jobs in Christian businesses. And I think that something that scale, and it could be lots of different things, right? But David Reese has talked about this a lot with like, he owns a glass company and then he owns an aluminum company because the glass company needs aluminum for the frames of the windows. And he, trying to piece those things together. So yeah, I mean, if it's an ammo company and you can make the primers instead of buying them from, Korea, or you can make powder, if you can make the bullets. And then we had a company out at the conference that makes bullets, right? And yeah, if the supply chain cuts off and they can't get primers, like guess what? They're not making bullets anymore. Right. So I think trying to be a hard target in terms of the supply chain for the components and manufacturing, I think one of the, not a very direct answer, but no matter what industry you're in, I think that does apply.
I think one of the dangers here too is to try to find the thing that's the flashiest or the most like the thing that you think will be the coolest to say in a conversation when someone asks you what you do. You're like, oh, well, I have XYZ business.
I'm an astronaut.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I'm a fighter pilot. There's the temptation to do that, but then there's all of these other industries that are. You
don't have to ask fighter, but they just tell you.
They'll just tell you. Yeah. They'll let you know. It's kind of like vegans,
triathletes, crossfitters.
There are certain industries like people are always going to need haircuts. Like lawn care and maintenance is going to be something that people need forever, unless we hit some sort of like apocalyptic, like no one cares about that anymore, but we're nowhere close to that right now. And like lots of guys start really basic stuff like that when they're in like high school And then instead of just giving it up when they go to college or, trying to move on, they just hire some buddies to help them. And before you know it, you got 4 or 5 trucks running around mowing people's yards and you're making pretty good money. And there's stuff like that, I think, that is worth paying attention to and just looking around and going, hey, this guy's had, or this guy does this thing. I wonder if I can beat him at that.
Yeah.
Or this older person doesn't have anyone to inherit this business. I wonder if I could take that over. Let me talk to that guy.
I think trades, maybe it's not exactly the question, but like, I think a lot of us will be funneling our kids into plumbing and electrical and HVAC and things like that. Like
carpentry.
Yeah. We have a guy in the church that does plumbing. We put a new gas range in the house the other week, and I used ChatGPT to figure out who could do this. Cause it's like, is this HVAC? Is this gas? Like what, who could actually run a 8-foot flexible line? And the first one that came up was a guy's business in our church. So I'm like, obviously I'm going to use him.
Yeah.
And like, he's charging market rates and he's giving refuge discounts, but like, if that's, it was not a cheap thing to accomplish, but for an hour of work, charging that kind of money, like there's something there. And like it's not price gouging. It's like, this is the market rate to have this kind of stuff done. And so I think there is a lot of money to be made, a lot of opportunity for small businesses. I think that we will continue to see a lot of boomer owned businesses going they didn't keep their kids don't want to do it. They went to college and did something else. They have no exit strategy, but they're ready to retire. And I think there will be a lot of opportunities for more of these small town mom and pop owner operator type things that can be scooped up for pennies on the dollar just to continue something that they've poured their whole life into.
Yeah. Hopefully that is helpful stuff. I think being creative and not having unattainable standards where like the thing that like I've had these ideas myself, so I'll address them that way. Like looking in the mirror, like you see something like New Christian Press and go, oh, I wonder if I could do that. You're like, well, actually, do we need another media company that is doing the exact same thing that those guys are doing? Probably not. Or like you look at someone like Brian and go like, could I write and sing and like make my own music? Am I a musician? Like, am I capable of just producing that many words in a week consistently? Well, most people aren't, right? So like he's got a particular skill set and he's capitalizing on that skill set with what he does. And I think it's important to do that self-assessment and then go, all right, what am I good at? How can I put that to work in the marketplace?
I've thought about it in kind of two different ways of ideally you have a survivable business that no matter what happens, the economy or the, collapse and whatever else, like everybody still needs this, right? Everybody still needs something done with their trash or something done. Like we're not at a point where like indoor plumbing is out. And so you want one of those things where like, no matter what happens, like people are going to want this. And I think plumbing is like one example of like, people are going to want plumbing and people are going to want lights and heat and, HVAC. And, or I think you don't have to go that route. I think you could say, I'm going to make hay while the sun's shining. And like this cottage niche thing that people are like into right now. Like around here, there's like all these pop-up indoor pickleball courts.
Yeah.
Which like, if you have a depression, nobody's going to be paying money to play pickleball at the pickleball court. But right now, great, do it. If it's printing cash, then do it, and then you're in a better position. So I think you can think about it one of two ways. And sometimes the new kind of like catchy thing, maybe it works for a time, and then maybe transition. So.
Yep. Okay. We tend to come back to these same topics at the end of these. I'll save that question for the very last one. Let's do this one. How do you train for endurance athletic events without losing significant strength? I'm planning to train for a marathon this year, but want to minimize strength loss. Also, have you found negative impacts on hormone health from this kind of training? To answer the first question, if you're going to really train hard for a big endurance event, you're just going to lose strength. That's just part of it, especially if you're more of like a strength centric athlete. The good news is, like, the caveat to that is that the strength will come right back. Like, as soon as you start strength training again, the speed with which you'll gain that strength back is like, it'll happen really, really quickly. And it's fun to make those like kind of like beginner gains again, where you go from like, man, I can't bench 2 plates to like, oh, I can rep it again like I used to be able to. But there's really no way, as far as I've seen anecdotally, to keep from losing at least some strength.
What do you think about like anabolic steroids? Like, would that help?
That might be the only way to do it, is like your test levels at 3,500, right? Like, then you can just do whatever you want. Like, you can just not train for an endurance event and still just go do it, right? Like, that's probably not a good idea, but there is always going to be a trade-off. That's why it's such a big deal if someone is fast and has a ton of endurance and is also really strong and has like
Low handicap.
Oh yeah. Like all the stuff. It's really difficult to be well-rounded like that and elite in multiple different facets of anything. And so I don't think that it is, if the goal is to go run a marathon, then train and go run a marathon and don't worry about the strength thing. The strength thing will come right back. I think that you can still do marathon training and strength training at the same time, but I wouldn't expect to gain strength during that phase of training, because that's not the emphasis.
I know you've done the Bandero, like what do you call that?
It's 100K.
It's not a marathon.
It's an ultra marathon.
Yeah, it is a marathon.
Ultra marathon.
Before you did that, did you do like, baby marathons?
No. I ran my first marathon.
What was the furthest distance you had run before doing an ultra marathon?
Half. Well, I
ran a half.
I ran my first marathon in training for the ultra on the same day that I ran my first 50K. So I ran a 50K, which is the first time. So it was like 31 miles.
Okay.
I went and did a training run that was 31 miles, and I was like my establishing my marathon.
Okay.
Was that day.
So yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just curious about that. If people are like, if it's like a drug where you're like, oh, 10K, half, marathon, Ironman.
I think like, maybe normal people do that.
Okay. You're just like, I don't think I've run further than like a 10K in my life. So when I call it a baby marathon, obviously I'm joking. But.
Yeah. I mean, I was training for something where I also just wanted to see what would happen. But I was like, I'm like 5'11", 210. I wonder if I do nothing but run for 8 months, if I'll lose any weight. The answer is no.
Really?
I lost 0 pounds. I ran the first one at exactly the same weight that I started training.
That's wild.
I just, however much I ran, I would just eat that much, apparently.
Were you strength training at the same time?
No, I completely stopped.
You just were running.
Yeah.
And then like percentage wise, like how did you see that affect you? In terms of like strength.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like I think my strength probably dropped by 20 to 30% on 1 rep maxes. Mm-hmm. Like if you compared the day that I started training for the ultra as opposed to like 2 weeks post. However, like to my earlier point, you regain it really quickly. I finished that race and was like, all right, I'm tired of running for a while. I'm not going to run anymore for a bit.
Till next year.
Yeah. And I started eating way more food and got obsessed with pulling a big deadlift, and then PR'd my deadlift like 2 months later. So in 8 weeks, like I pulled more weight off the floor than I ever had previously.
So basically your answer is like, don't worry about it. Have your goal, train for that goal, and then set the next one.
Yeah. I actually think that that's a really good way of like kind of stair stepping up your ability and capability across the board, is to go, all right, for the next 3 or 4 months, I'm only going to be really concerned with this thing. And then the next 4 months after that, I'm going to transition and work on some sort of really specific strength goal. And then I'm going to do a race, and then I'm going to do, an obstacle race, or I'm going to do a powerlifting meet or whatever. And like changing the changing the emphasis periodically for a particular event, going and completing the event or competing, and then going, all right, what do I want to do next? I think is a really good way of like improving everything across the board, because unless you're just right at the beginning of this, the chances that you're going to be a decade into training and then go, I'm going to improve everything across the board all at the same time. The answer is probably
somebody
no.
asking about losing significant strength is not at the beginning of this.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. As far as like negative impacts on hormone health, I think that is probably a pretty proven thing. Like running 4, 5, 6 marathons a year is not something that's actually like healthy for you, but it also depends on who you are and like, what have you done leading up to this? Did you go from a dude who's like really into computer games, and then all of a sudden you're going to be a marathon athlete and start running 5 marathons a year? Well, yeah, your body's probably going to freak out. But if you grew up doing stuff like that, and that's been the case forever, then it probably won't be that big of a deal and your body will be fine. It just depends on the person and the context, and also like how bad you want something. Like if you like we talked about earlier, like obsession is magic. If you become completely obsessed with this new thing, then you'll do whatever it takes to get the thing done. And it won't matter if you have some aches and pains and strains along the way. Like that's just part of it. But as far as negative impacts on hormone health, it's going to be the kind of thing that, as far as I know, won't impact stuff outside of that athletic realm. Like, I don't think it's going to hurt your quality of life to start running and drop the strength training. I don't think it's going to be like something that affects reproductive health or anything like that, especially not long-term. If you go from running 5 miles a week to running 50, yeah, you're going to notice all kinds of adverse effects from that if you do that overnight. But if you're using that rule of like, I'm not going to increase the total volume by more than 10% a week, you should be fine.
And especially if it's a seasonal thing where you're like, this is my goal, I'm going to go do this race, train for it, and then go back to what I was doing. Like,
yeah,
should be no issue. Right?
Yeah, should be fine. All right, last one here, and we'll wrap it up. What do I look for in a wife when I want to lead a godly patriarchal household? I know it'll be a needle in a haystack to find a woman that wants to be a stay-at-home mom in this day and age. I think we could make a caveat to that. But what are qualities that young men should look for that can eventually be developed and encouraged to be feminine women who want to be led? It's a really good question. I think this is a pretty consistent one. Obviously, we've already answered questions about young men looking for wives. This is an extension of that. But I think one that you bring up regularly is she a Christian? Does she, profess faith in Jesus Christ? And what is her relationship like with her father? Like, those are two of the biggest ones that you harp on.
Yeah. And I would dig into like, what does it mean to be a Christian? Like what is that? What kind of Christian are you?
What kind of Christian are you?
But yeah, I mean, like at least the fundamental tier 1 kind of things, like the inerrancy of scripture. And when we have a disagreement, like how are we going to figure that out? And like, do you, I think it's important to ask the question, like, if I wouldn't continue courting a girl that's like, I never want to have kids. Like, if that's where she's at, like, not that that's a catch-all thing, but like, if that's where she's at in her teens or 20s, like, she's drunk deep from the, feminism well. And like that could be harder to try to work against. And like, you want to find somebody that's like, at least in the same grain that you can work with. Mm-hmm. So I think some of those kind of initial things, like getting into like general, if she's a normal, well-adjusted woman, what should she want to do? Oh, I want to have some kids. I want to teach my kids how to read. I want to push them on the swings. And I want to, the normal stuff that should not be a huge ask. Like, if she's into that kind of stuff, then I think the rest will follow. But if she's like, oh no, I went to college and then I got my master's and now I'm, climbing the ladder at Booz Allen Hamilton. It's like that's not not that it's irreversible, but like that's probably not the short list of like good use of time for courtship.
Yeah. Those are big ones. I think from more of like a personal standpoint and less like criteria, I guess, but like it's the Tom Haverford line is like the sexiest thing about her is that she's into me. It's like you have to find a girl who like respects you and thinks something of you and might want to follow in the direction that you're leading. And if that is a constant uphill battle and fight where she's just like, yeah, I don't really know if you're that cool, actually. Like, I don't really know if I like you that much. I wish these things were all different about you. Then that's also one of those things. Even if she checks all the other boxes, then that's always going to be a point of problematic, it's just going to be issues.
Yeah, I've done a lot of premarital counseling this year. And like one of the questions that comes up a lot is like, making sure you understand the difference between like the man having a mission and the woman, being oriented toward the man, and the man's mission being outward facing. Like what you don't want is like man and woman, like their mission is each other. And like, it's I can fix her scenario like that. That's not what you're looking for. Like the wife is not the mission. Like she's a part of it. And like, there's the aspects of sanctification and washing her in the word and all of that. But like primarily like making her a better person or wife, that's not like objective number one.
Right.
And so I think thinking through those things and whether it's you looking at her that way or her looking at you that way, like that's not what you're looking for in terms of if she's like, and this comes out and like nagging and, you need to fix this. And if you just did this, then maybe you'd be husband, but like, that's not what you're looking for.
No, there needs to be some baseline level of like, you're just attracted to each other. And yeah, physicality is involved in that. But also like, if you don't enjoy being around that person, and then when you're away from them, you don't think like, man, this would be way cooler if she was here. Like that is like one of those really baseline. I know that sounds extremely elementary, but it's actually really important. Like we still live in this temporal world and those things are still important.
Yeah, because I think people get into the ditch sometimes of thinking like, I like the idea of like where they came from or what they're about or what they espouse. But like at the end of the day, like, I mean, they're okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to be there on your wedding day taking vows thinking like, man, I don't know if this is the right call. Like you want to be like, no, like, well, how could it be otherwise?
Yeah, exactly. I think those things are really, really important. And I think in my opinion, one of the things that I found really attractive about my wife is that I could just tell that she was capable of endurance. Like she was capable of dealing with adversity and like delaying gratification and fighting for something with me for a long period of time, even if the circumstances weren't perfect. And I think that is the kind of thing that's like, you're just looking for a good, worthy person, right? If at the drop of a hat, the whole world has shattered and the sky is falling and like things that really aren't a big deal yet, and you're just getting to know each other, you're just dating, and like everything is this massive deal, like it's a massive blow up, and this is this gigantic issue, and how are we going to solve this? It's like you guys are like getting to know each other.
Yeah, and it's important that like you're describing kind of like drama, which is like there is drama in life.
Sure, yeah.
But you want that to be like external and not like internal. Like the drama should not be primarily between you and her.
Right.
It should be primarily like testing ground for if there is an external conflict, is she going to like run to you and be like, no, you are right and they're wrong, and basically like go to war for you, like that kind of thing. And doesn't like mean it's like a perfect analysis of the scenario, but that should be the initial knee-jerk reaction of like, who are we fighting?
Yeah, exactly. If the knee-jerk reaction is that, oh, you were probably wrong, now tell me about the situation, that's not a good sign. Yeah. And I just mean like the catastrophizing of things that really even aren't a big deal yet, because there will be things that come up like in a marriage that is going to last, Lord willing, for the rest of your life. there will be genuine challenges that are really difficult that you're going to have to like hold each other up through and like support each other through. And if there's no sign that this person is like capable of that kind of endurance and fight, then probably not the person you're looking for.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool. All right. Well, hopefully these are helpful. Really enjoyed doing them. Thank you guys so much for all the questions. If you haven't checked out the Patreon yet, definitely go check out the Patreon. And yeah, I think that's it. We got any more housekeeping stuff we need to talk about?
No. Seems like things are going on as normal, chugging along, doing episodes, doing good interviews. They've been, I think, really good. All the ones we've done recently have been, I've been impressed with the guys we've interviewed. So really excited about those. Check those out.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the interviews as well. One thing that did just pop in my head, if you guys have not checked out the giveaway on Patreon, we started with the gun giveaway at the conference, but we're going to do one of those every month. I don't know when this episode will come out, so I won't say what we're giving away right at this moment, but be on the lookout for that. We're going to do a giveaway a month. There's usually some pretty cool stuff in there for you guys to win. So definitely check that out. If you haven't checked out the Patreon yet, we're doing giveaways over on the Patreon, so go check it out. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one. As always, stay frosty, fight the good fight, act like men.